So there was a recent Joe Rogan podcast that had Douglas Murray and Dave Smith on. And these two guys basically stand on opposing sides of the fence when it comes to the Israel-Palestine conflict. The big criticism that Murray threw at Smith was that Smith had never actually been to Israel or Palestine. Yet he was very opinionated on it, and he said, well, why haven't you been there? Smith responded by saying, well, I don't have to actually be there to have an opinion on it, which is true. In fact, most Americans probably haven't been there, but yet have a very strong opinion on it. Now, I'm not saying that it's wrong to have an opinion on something where you've never been to, and on a place that you've never been to. However, after thinking about this for a while, because it was in the back of my mind, I realized that Murray had a valid point or a valid criticism. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with Murray or his position. What I agree with him about is this. Most people, like Dave Smith, their perception of what's going on over there is based on what they hear about in the news and what they read about in the news or through social media. But, as you probably know, the news isn't always accurate. The news comes filtered, and you often get it from second, third-hand sources. So, what you hear about in the news may or may not be true. The only way you would really know is if you were there in person and you saw it with your own eyes and you met the people and you experienced it. Then you could form an opinion that is true because you saw it yourself, you experienced it yourself. And I'm willing to bet that a person that's there experiencing it firsthand would probably form a different opinion than somebody who reads about it in the news, like most of us do. Again, let me give you an example. I could turn on the news and hear all sorts of things about New York State, for example. I could hear that the crime is out of control and this and that, but I don't know if any of that's really true unless I go there myself. And maybe if I went there myself, I could say, I don't see any of this. The news definitely blew this way out of proportion. But how would I know that unless I was actually there and saw it for myself? The same is true for what's going on in Israel and Palestine. Now, again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have an opinion. I'm just saying that your opinion might be different if you were actually there. So I do think that Douglas Murray's criticism of Dave Smith is valid. But what do you all think?